The following program is a production of Pioneer Public Television. Major funding for your legislators is provided by Move Minnesota, a statewide coalition fighting for a 10-year commitment to fixing our dire transportation needs. A safe, reliable transportation system strengthens Minnesota's economy. Join the conversation at movemn.org. Additional funding provided by Flaherty and Hood has provided quality legal and legislative services to clients in Greater Minnesota for more than 20 years. Our legal team focuses on municipal employment and environmental law, while our lobbyists energetically represent clients at the state capitol. Online at flaherty-hood.com. MAPE members, making Minnesota Clean Water's safe communities, quality education, and veterans care happen. We work hard for Minnesotans. Live from St. Paul, Minnesota, we welcome you to the 35th session of Your Legislators, a roundtable discussion featuring state lawmakers who are prepared to answer your questions and discuss important issues affecting the citizens of Minnesota. Now, here is your moderator for tonight's program, Barry Anderson.
Good evening and welcome to this week's version of Your Legislators. We're delighted that you have joined us, and we're looking forward to a conversation about the issues of the day. All right. little sound test there. It all works, and we can move forward. We have, as always, a distinguished panel of guests to help unravel the mysteries of St. Paul, and we begin this evening's program as we do each program from now until whenever the legislature goes home, which might be as soon as next week, maybe. That's another thing we'll talk about. But until the legislature goes home, we do have an opportunity to visit with your legislators, and hence the catchy name of this program. Our panel this evening begins to my immediate left, District 52A, South St. Paul, Representative Rick Hansen. Representative Hansen, thanks for joining us. Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm in my 11th year at the Capitol. I represent District 52A, which is South St. Paul, West St. Paul, Mendota Heights, Mendota, and Lilydale. And I work a lot in the environment area. I'm the DFL lead in the House in the environment, and work a lot on bee issues, which were happening at the Capitol today.
As a matter of fact, we have a question from a viewer about that, and we're going to start there when we get done introducing the panel, so we'll come right back to you. Senator Pappas, you're a frequent guest to this panel. You represent District 65 in St. Paul. You've been with us many times. Tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Barry. I think this is my first time this year, so it's nice I made it, and what hopefully will be your last show of the year.
We're hoping for one more next week.
Yeah, one after
next week
session
to wrap things up.
Yeah, well, welcome to my district again. I represent downtown St. Paul. I live downtown St. Paul. I walk to the Capitol. I walked here tonight from my condo. This is my 31st year in the legislature, and I'm privileged to be president of the Senate.
Well, congratulations, and thank you so much for joining us. We're delighted to have you with us. Another frequent guest, this might be your third visit this year.
I think you have a good memory.
Yeah,
this is my third visit
I think
this
that's
year.
right. From Rochester, District 26, Senator Carla Nelson. Senator Nelson, notwithstanding your two prior appearances, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, it's great to be here. I live in Rochester and represent Rochester, Chatfield, Dover, Yoda, Elgin, and Plainview actually were in my previous district, but not since redistricting, and Stewartville, and most of Olmsted County. Glad to represent that thriving county and city in the state legislature, and I serve on taxes, capital investment, health, human services, housing, higher education, and the bonding committee, so a full plate of issues.
And plenty of things to talk about in the course of the next hour, so we will be doing that. And finally, last but certainly not least, joining us from District 13A, Rockville, Representative Jeff Howe. Representative Howe, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a retired firefighter. I serve in the Minnesota National Guard. I've been in the military for 37 years. And I serve District 13A, which has 12 townships and 6 cities. And I'm mostly south and west of St. Cloud, but I wrap around St. Cloud with a couple of townships. So it's kind of an interesting district. And lot of resort areas, a lot of farming.
Now, at the risk of, exposing family connections, you actually have a connection with our fill-in host from a couple of weeks ago, Senator Howe. Tell our viewers about that.
Well, my brother John is a former senator, and he's actually the reason I moved to St. Cloud, to tell you the truth. I got out of the Navy, and he convinced me to go to St. Cloud State, and so we've got quite a relationship between the two of us, and so we had hoped to serve on both together, but that didn't pan out for us, so a little disappointing there. But it's been good to play off one another and bounce things off of him as this my second term has worked out.
One last little connection, and then we'll move on to things that are going to be more interesting to our viewers. But my understanding from our conversation earlier is you also have a connection with the late Senator Charlie Berg.
Well, that's true. Late Senator Charlie Berg was our first legislator from the big town of Chicago, and so we claim that Chicago has produced more legislators per capita than any other city in the state, and so it's 150 per legislator. There's been my brother, I, and Senator Berg that came out of the big town of Chicago.
All right, so we got to get a governor's proclamation or a sign or something. All right, so enough on Senator Berg and on Chicago. Let's talk instead about bees, and I'm going to look to you, Representative, because we have a question from a viewer in Maynard who says the legislature seems intent on rolling back pollinator protection put into law last session. Where do the guests stand on that? Where is that going? And this viewer is also concerned about the standalone avian flu bill, but we'll come back to that. Let's talk about the pollination thing.
Well, I think the viewer is correct. The legislature did roll back bee protections. Last year, we established some of the leading pollinator protection provisions, not just honeybees, but native pollinators. We said that when we're using the public money, like on legacy funds, we want to plant pollinator-friendly habitat. We set up a compensation fund for beekeepers when they lose hives and bees due to pesticide impacts. And most importantly, we set up a labeling, truth, and advertising piece, which today was amended. Our bill was passed where the House language came over to the Senate, and it changed the definition of how we would label plants. So when we passed that law last year, it was fairly simple. It wasn't a ban on neonicotinoid pesticides, but it was simply saying if you are labeling something as pollinator friendly, it needs to be.
And so the results of what transpired today are what?
So what we had was the reference point was that you couldn't find any detectable level of a pollinator lethal insecticide, a pollinator lethal insecticide being that which kills pollinators. That was
pollinators being bees, in case
bees, but sometimes they're butterflies and moths. Sometimes they're native bees, not just the honeybees. And so the bill that's on its way to the governor says instead of a detectable level, it has to be a no observable effect level. And what that means is that you have to see the impact on the insect. And when you have a plant, that's almost unenforceable. Because how are you going to measure that impact? Are you going to have to see the bee actually die when it goes to the flower? And what the research is coming out, there's scientific journals that the impact, the sublethal impacts that affect bees, you've got bees going from flower to flower, and actually with the neonicotinoids, it's a basic nicotine thing, and the bees actually like it. They'll come back, and it impacts them. And so our researchers at the University of Minnesota, and we invested in a bee lab at the U last year, Marla Spivak and others that work there, they'll say that it's parasites, poor nutrition, poor habitat, and pesticides. Not just
that
one.
That are killing the bees.
That are killing bees. And that's not just one, but they impact each other. So the pesticides could impact or weaken the bees, where then they may not find the food, thus you've got to have the habitat, or they may become more susceptible to the parasites, the mites that come into the hives. So we've dealt with trying to help with the public dollar on habitat, but what happened today was a step backward. And this is what happens here is an omnibus bill, a lot of good stuff in it, some bad stuff in it. The choice is in front of all of us. I voted against the omnibus bill Others don't, but it's on its way to the governor, and, you know, it's a pretty popular bill. It passed unanimously, but this was in it. And it's unfortunate, and I hope that, you know, Minnesotans, if things like this happen at the Capitol, there's still a way that they can go to their nurseries and greenhouses and say, why is this happening? I want to have something that's not going to kill pollinators. And ask those greenhouses and nurseries, you know, why are you lobbying for this at the Capitol? We want truth in advertising. We want to plant. Minnesotans, I mean, I hear this over from around the state. I get emails. We want to help out pollinators. People get the connection with our food supply. They know that bees are critical. So we've got to try to do this. And so if they can't influence us, I encourage them to influence with their dollar at the nurseries and greenhouses and ask for pollinator-friendly plants.
Senator Pappas, any thoughts on this?
Well, we didn't have nearly that intensive a discussion on the floor today of the Senate, and so it just kind of goes to show is that we needed more information, I think, on the Senate, because none of this came up on the Senate floor when we had that bill.
No, we did not have this discussion, but I will say that pollinators are very important, and I think the public does realize that. So I think it's an issue that, you know, we're going to have to monitor very carefully, and we know that laws can change, and they do change. And I also like what you said about having people vote with their pocketbooks. And I think there's even more power in the consumer, and so I think that that's a good avenue as well. But I think we'll have to monitor it very, very carefully.
Representative Howell, your thoughts?
Well, and I think there is a real issue with the pollinator problem, and we need to look at it. And I agree. I like the vote with your pocketbook idea, but there's also, and I've met with some beekeepers over the interim, and I do believe there's more to it than just the niconoids that we have. I mean, most of the beekeepers are not keeping native bees. They are coming. They're bringing them in from California. They're bringing them in for Texas. They're importing most of our bee population, and so we need to really take a look at those pollinators that are native, that stay here, and also our native bee population is important that we need to look at, rather than some of these that they're importing, because that's an issue, that they're bringing in non-native species, and I think that's some of the reasons why they're not winter hardy. We're losing a lot of pollinators and a lot of bees for many different reasons, not only the niconoids, that isn't helping the issue.
So let's talk about education. We have a viewer from Nisswa who notes that in 2011, with a budget deficit, the legislature gave a public schools a 1% increase on the formula. This viewer thinks, in light of the surplus, that an increase of just 1% to 2% isn't enough. There should be more. What's happening on education? Maybe we should start with you, Senator Pappas.
No, I'm happy to chime in here because I think that the House and the Senate and the governor did come in low on, especially on the formula. I mean, the governor's very strong on universal preschool, and the Senate had a very robust expansion of the school readiness program, which is for 4-year-olds, and the House had a very robust expansion of the scholarships for low-income kids to pay for early childhood education. And so there's a lot of support for early childhood. But I do think that we've been hearing a lot from our schools that, you know, that's 1%, 1.5%. It's barely enough it's not even enough to cover inflation. And that when you get more experienced teachers, they draw in larger salaries because of steps and lanes, and we just really need to put more money there on the formula. And so I think that everyone has gotten that message. Our schools have been very, very vocal. And so I'm very hopeful that we're going to end up with at least 2% on the formula and some expansion in preschool. And then, you know, for me as an inner city legislator, we need early learning. We need language learning for our immigrants, and we have a lot of special ed kids, and we have a lot of poor kids. So we certainly need kind of special funding to deal with those issues. But I think everyone universally agrees that, you know, if you don't have the basic money for your schools and you're laying off teachers, that hurts everyone.
I can add a little bit to that. And I would agree with all that Senator Pappas has said. I do think that there is a better way, actually, than the governor's proposal. And his proposal was that universal kindergarten, which, of course...
4-year-old.
Universal pre-K, universal 4-year-old. And, of course, the House didn't have that money. And actually, the Senate put some in school readiness, which kind of could be used for that. But I prefer a much more targeted approach, which is the early learning scholarships. So the high-quality preschool, making sure it's available for children from low-income homes. Doing that, rather than the universal pre-K for everyone, allows more money than to be put on the formula. And I think that's where our school districts want it. They want that local control. Our school districts are very different. I've toured the state, and I'm telling you, every district is incredibly different, what their needs are and how best to solve those. And so when you put money directly on the formula, it gives the school districts more flexibility to better handle those. So I'm hoping at the end of the day that we have more money on the formula, not universal pre-kindergarten, but we put more money into the early learning scholarships, target those resources. And we've had great success with that, great support. I supported the governor's initiative in prior years for the early learning scholarships because they work.
And I'm somebody who wants all of the above. So I like the scholarships, but I also like the 4-year-old programs that for school readiness. And partly it's because 20 years ago I was a co-author of that program. And it is targeted because it starts with the low-income kids. But it is, and it's in both our public schools and in private facilities.
Senator Pappas, I'm going to go to the rest of our panel in just a minute, but maybe as our veteran legislator here, can you tell our viewers where this education thing is right now in terms of the process? You know, whether we've got competing bills, conference committee, agreement, leadership. Where does it stand?
Well, all the omnibus bills, as we call them, omnibus financial bills, need to have a joint target. Like the House spends so much money, the Senate spends so much money, the governor proposes so much money. So the three entities have to get together and figure out how much each omnibus conference committee is going to have, and then the conferees should really figure out how that's spent. It doesn't always work that way as ideally. Sometimes the leaders say,
well, there's the textbook way and then the way it works in real life.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
So all the conference committees are hung up because those basic targets haven't been determined, and it's very, very late. I mean, this is Thursday night. I don't think I've ever seen targets this late. You know, sometimes there are other global issues that aren't resolved until the last minute, but generally the conferees have targets to work from. So the fact that we only have 2 omnibus bills that have gotten targets, the judicial omnibus bill has a target, and the higher ed bill has a target, but that's all. So we have still hanging out there E12, as we talked about, we still have hanging out there Health and Human Services, we still have tax bill, we still have transportation bill, we still have environment and ag, and a jobs and energy bill. So that's a lot left to receive targets.
And those targets come from an agreement between the governor and the leadership of the House and Senate,
That's right, between the Speaker, the Majority Leader, and the governor.
And so these meetings that leadership's been having, this hasn't been about, you know, what's wrong with the wild or whatever. It's about what the target numbers should
and it's
be.
money.
Yes.
You know, they're not really discussing policy. And I think that a lot of the policy, and there's a lot of differences between the House and the Senate, is just going to get left by the wayside because we have to keep government running. So that's our priority. And, you know, it probably was better if you had an independent bill at this point, because most people think putting their issue in an omnibus bill is a safe place to put it, but I don't think this year. I think it's better, like the flame retardants or some other bills, to have been separate.
I don't mean to have avoided you, Representative Howe. Pre-K, tell us your thoughts on that.
For me in my district, I've got 7 different school districts in my area that I serve, and for the most part, I believe one of them actually likes the universal pre-K. The rest of them all don't want any part of it. Not that they don't want any part of it, but their biggest problem is they don't have the space, and there's no funding to add that space, add those teachers. And that's a real problem for them, and that's going to come right back on the taxpayers, and it's going to be a local referendum issue, and that's the issue. I do believe that it'll also hurt a lot of our private businesses that are in the business of private pre-K, and I think that's a jobs thing. That's a real economic impact to my area. So I like the scholarship piece of that. I think that's an important, and I believe we properly funded that, but I also believe that once that gets solved, that universal pre-K gets solved, I do believe there's going to be some money to help with that formula piece, and I think that would all come together.
Well, we did make a big step last year with doing all-day kindergarten, and that's something that I've advocated for 20 years, which shows how effective I am. Right? But
Persistent.
I mean, that was a big step to go to all-day kindergarten, and it's very, very popular. I think every school district in the state but one has chosen to. It's optional for school districts and optional for parents, but it's very, very popular with parents. And so I would rather see a more of an incremental step. So we expand learning readiness, we go half day. My school district has 7 all-day 4-year-old programs and 38 half-day programs, and can do some expansion. But you're right, space is an issue. I mean, obviously it doesn't have to be in school buildings. It can be in other community centers or churches or even private homes. You know, you can use the private sector to help with that as well.
That's one of the great things about the scholarship alternative. Parents can choose to use those wherever they want. They can choose to use them at the local school district, and many do. They can choose to use them at the family child daycare down the street or at the center daycare, and that's kind of, I think, one of the there's a lot of beauties, I think, of the early scholarship model, but part of it is the targeting resources, protects the private sector, and empowers parents to choose where that should be. So I'm very cautiously optimistic that we'll see some good investment in those early scholarships.
Representative Hanson?
What I'm mainly hearing from my district is at a time of surplus, and we've got the surplus there, that why can't we at least get 2% and 2% on the formula? I'm hearing some from the private businesses, but it comes back to the district and the flexibility. And I look at our experience with our family, and my son has been through special education. He has dyslexia, and that intervention makes a difference. That early intervention makes a difference. So when you are putting the money into the formula and giving the flexibility to the local districts and being able to make sure that the kids that need help are getting the help, they can thrive. And that's where the consistency and the ability to make sure that the districts know what they're going to get and that they can plan for it. I've heard anecdotally from some other members that there are districts that are concerned they don't know yet. They don't know if they're going to need to go to the levy because here we're doing this at the last minute. So getting this on the formula, getting the 2%, I think is really critical.
There was a recent report out, too, that showed that school districts have received adequate funding increases to cover inflation, but not adequate funding increases to cover the increased cost of health care and pensions. So, and we know that those costs are escalating. So I think we're all in agreement here. Let's get it on the formula.
Well, we'll see how that develops over the next 72, 96 hours and so forth. So we have viewers who follow issues very closely, and they aren't always the issues that are on the front page of the newspaper. So a viewer from Jordan wants to know, there was supposed to be a bill to move the primary to June on the House floor this week. The vote didn't happen. What's the deal? So I'll look at you, Representative Howe. What's the deal?
Well, I think that bill may come up again. We will see. But there were some challenges with that bill, and it was decided not to put it on the House floor. So I would like to see that bill come back. We will see. I think there was some gamemanship played, and the bill was not heard, and I think that's disappointing.
Senator, is there a companion bill on the Senate side dealing with that primary?
You know, I can't tell you if there's a bill, but I would assume there is. I haven't seen it. It hasn't come to any of my committees, but this discussion has been around for a number of years. So I would anticipate there's a bill in the hopper on this.
Well, Senator Sieben had contemplated putting it in her elections bill, and that didn't happen. And so, I think the Speaker indicated some support for the June elections, so she expected it would come through on the House side. But it sounds like it didn't. But, it's very difficult to figure out when that primary should be, because September we thought was too late in the process. August is a horrible month because everyone's on vacation. June is a difficult month because everyone's focused on graduation, although I think that early June might be a good time if kids are still in school and people haven't taken off for vacation. But on the other hand, for those of us that are incumbents, that might have primary challenges, it's very difficult for us. We're tied up in the session. We're not allowed to fundraise during the session. We can't go out and door knock. So June isn't necessarily a good time for us.
Well, we looked at the bill actually said basically the third week in June. And I think that was probably a fair thing. You'd have, for incumbents, about 4 weeks to get out and do that. And so, and I truly believe for an incumbent, it's a little bit of a handicap because you are in session. But on the other side, if you're doing your job well and you're communicating with your constituents, that kind of evens that out. So I think if you're doing good work, that shouldn't be a real hindrance. So I actually like the third week in June. I thought that was a good choice.
I haven't found one Minnesotan that wants longer campaigns. This is absolute madness to move to extend the campaign season. When you extend the campaign season, you increase the cost of the campaign. If we had a June primary, and this was an election year, right now, when we're driving home, we would see lawn signs, we would have campaign commercials, and we'd have the literature flying into the mailboxes right now. Minnesotans don't want longer campaigns. We had information from the School Boards Association. They don't want it because it's not just the partisan elections when you move the primary. It's city councils, it's county commissioners, it's school board members who are doing public service, and they would the filing for a June primary would be the last week of March.
That's right.
Absentee ballots would be being cast in April. So that means that people who want to serve on their school board would have to make a decision to run a campaign. Most of the school board members, the city councilors that I know are doing this for public service. They're not sitting there thinking, ooh, I need to get thinking and running a 9-month
Rick,
campaign.
what about the argument that we spend too much time fighting among ourselves in primaries and when we should be focusing on a general election?
I think Minnesotans would like even shorter elections because they know that the price is going up, that the money that's being spent is just going out of control.
And I would say that I think the biggest money is spent on the general election, not the primaries. So, I think we've well framed this issue and both sides of it. But I do think that most of the money is spent, as I said, in the general. So you would be lengthening that out. So even though there are primaries, they're very localized primaries, and not every area has primaries. Right. So I'm tending to lean towards
keeping it in August.
Keeping it in August.
Well, we could actually go back to September because
or September.
Trying to get
I tell you what, I think the piece that, and I'm going to put my military hat on and protect those folks because I believe in the last election there was over 1,000 ballots that didn't get back in time from military service members, and their votes didn't count.
Yes, that's
and when you're doing this in August, the counties out there that are dealing with putting these ballots together to send them out can't get them out, can't get them printed and sent out in time. Many of them don't reach those people that are serving our country, and by the time they get them, the election's over.
You're talking about the August election?
But there's
The August election.
How would June make a difference then?
Well, if you back it up to June, they have that much more
An extra
time
60 days.
to get that done and get it out.
That's the argument.
But,
for the
there
general
is a
election.
solution to that. Minnesota is a received state. Our ballots are cast based on being received on the election day, both the primary and the general. If we move to a cast state like other states, where the vote is cast either at an APO or as a postmark, the data is there. You're absolutely right. We have ballots that come in, not just military, but overseas and other folks that come in after the election that were cast. They're postmarked election day. If we change the law to allow that, then we would be like about 5 other states. We don't canvass until like the 20th of November. So if you allow the votes that are cast by the end of the day on election day, whether it's in Belgium or anywhere in the world, and they can come in and you count them, because you're absolutely right. We have votes that are being cast that are not counted because they arrive after election day. Then you don't have to change the date because you've got the 3-week window for those to count. When you have the primary, if we could move the primary back to September, you would still have that time for those votes to be counted.
But there's still the issue of some of these counties can't even get it to the service member or those folks serving out there in time, the election is over by the time they get them because of that window. I firmly believe we need to move that back because those folks that are serving our country, if no one else should get their vote counted, they should get their vote counted. And I'm speaking from a family that has over 100 years of service to our country in the military, and I just find it appalling that their votes, our votes, have a chance of not being counted.
Actually, I share your concern about that. I think all Minnesotans do. And so I would hope there is a way, there should be a way in this day and age where we can make sure that no matter where our men and women are serving, they get a ballot in time to cast it. So I kind of think that's not really relevant to the June primary or not, but I say you brought up a great issue because I had a constituent who was serving abroad who did not get a ballot in time.
Why can't they
It's
do it electronically?
Unacceptable.
They can't.
Well, really,
Electronically or by the old-fashioned method of fax, which would still be
well,
faster
because
than
a
the
lot
mail?
of times you don't have that capability where they're serving. That's
They don't have internet.
You get out to the outskirts of Afghanistan.
They don't
that
have internet?
Not that they can use for that
Well,
process.
I think we'll leave that issue with a thought that we may see some action on that between now and Monday morning or Tuesday morning, I should say. So we have a viewer with a question that came in via Twitter. Those of you interested in communicating with us that way, it's #YourLegislators. But this viewer says, I'm concerned with the Minnesota Care and issues relating to Minnesota Care and the bills on Minnesota Care. And this viewer is concerned about access to health care. What's the future of Minnesota Care and sort of health care policy generally in this legislative session? Who wants to take a run at that?
Well, the Senate Democrats have been very strong that we're not going to eliminate Minnesota Care. There's certainly, in one fell swoop, there certainly is an openness to talk about reform, especially in light of MNsure and other changes in the healthcare market, but we're not going to leave low-income Minnesotans in the lurch by eliminating Minnesota Care. That's just not going to happen.
Well, I don't believe we're going to leave them I think we got a bigger chance of leaving them in a lurch if we don't do something when the funding stream for Minnesota Care ends in 2019. We need to start transitioning.
But that's 4 years away. I mean,
But-
we can start transitioning, but we don't, the House Republicans want to just eliminate it now.
Well, take a look at this. We are the only state in the nation that kept that program, kept that type of program. And I
good
agree.
for us.
It is a great program. But the deal is we've got 90,000 recipients right now, or people on that program. And we got MNsure that we must keep. So why don't we transition? And actually, if we transition them over, we're going to save about $450 million a year. And they will have more choice, more opportunity, and they're going to be going on the silver level program on our MNsure program.
First of all, I feel that's an inflated number. And second, if the House had come in with a discussion about how we could gradually over 4 years make that transition, then I think we could have a reasonable discussion about it. But just to eliminate Minnesota Care, you can't do that.
But they will be moved over to the MNsure program at the silver level, and they'll get the choice of their program there. And I believe that is not eliminating them off of a program that's put them
with a higher
over to a good deal.
deductible, with more co-pays. These are people who can't afford that. That needs to be looked at carefully, and the whole legislature has not had time to look at that and examine that option. We just don't move that fast with this kind of a 20-year program that's been so successful.
Well, I would say that's an opportunity in conference committee to start moving down that direction. So maybe there won't be, I mean, that's what conference committees are all about. And so I'm hoping that we will see some movement to try and better serve our MNcare constituents. And we do have the MNsure infrastructure in place, and I think it provides additional options for them. And so I like to provide choice, but it's all about accessibility. And so I don't think anybody is interested in removing MNcare. I don't think that's a fair description either, to say we're just going to chop people off of MNcare. I don't think anybody wants to do that. But I would hope there would be an orderly transition to a better program and a better system. And I think we can do that. And maybe we'll get some of that in conference
Whether it's a
committee.
better program remains to be determined.
Representative Hanson.
Well, this is the problem we're at right now with a few days left. We're dealing
Right.
with a $40+ billion budget. Some of the conference committees at meeting are not conference committees. They are the chairs of the House and the Senate committees that are meeting behind closed doors trying to work out something. I think what's going to happen is we're going to have huge bills plopped in front of us to vote on that haven't gone through even same and similar. They haven't gone through a process. This is going to happen. It's going to be it's just going to be not a public process. It's going to be plop. Here it is. And what's in there in a Health and Human Services budget? What's in there? And who's going to read it after we go around the clock the next 3 days?
I think it's been getting worse and worse, this behind closed doors, no transparency process of the conference committees at the end of session. We used to have weeks and weeks where the conferees would go through the bill agonizingly slow, adopt the sames and similars, take in public comment on the House side and the Senate side, and then at a certain point, you know, there'd be some private meetings, and they'd come back and they'd announce where they're at in the public instead of leave everything to the very end. And then, like Rick said, it's just plop down in front of us.
Well, I will say, though, that we did, in transportation, we have done all the same and similar. And so, but we're done. I mean, we need the target in order to move from here. And
I think we do a disservice to Minnesotans when we do that. And what you described is the very same thing that I am fearful of. These big bills will come to us, they'll be plopped down on our desk, and we're supposed to vote on them without even having time to read it or hear from some of the testimony. And so I think and the funny thing is, this is no surprise, right? We knew when our constitutionally required deadline was. We knew it when we got here. We knew it before we got here in January. And so if we could try and encourage ourselves and those who are in the conference committees or the chairs to actually do the posturing that seems to be necessary in April, so that in May we were actually working on targets. I mean, maybe we need a new deadline, which is targets. You need to have conference committee targets so many weeks before adjournment or something, because we cannot, I don't think we do Minnesotans service.
So on this topic, Senator Rosen had a tweet this afternoon, just to show you that I'm technologically literate. I know what these things are. Senator Rosen had a tweet that suggested that a special session will be necessary for no other reason than to get through the Health and Human Services bill. Does anybody have any comment on that? Any thought whether or not Senator Rosen might have
I think that's
a point?
realistic.
I think there just are not enough hours, even if there were an agreement tonight. I think in my informal assessment, it was like noon today. If there were not targets by noon today, it would be nearly impossible just to get the mechanics done of getting conference committee reports agreed to and then just getting them processed.
And I was thinking last night, because then conference committees could have started meeting this morning at 8 o'clock.
Well, and I keep thinking, I'm hopelessly optimistic, but I was still thinking that by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So there you go. I'm not very hopeful.
Nobody's
but that's
rejecting
gonna
out of hand Senator Rosen's thought.
not at all.
Unfortunately
I think if
not.
most bills are settled, or if all the bills are given targets and have the weekend to work, then I still think we probably have to go into special session just to get the revisers' work done. But it could be, my best case scenario is it could be just a one-day special session on Wednesday to, pass one or two bills.
And maybe the bills should be out in public so that actually people can see them.
Yes.
For a few days rather than plop, 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 and we vote on these things, because we just can't do this anymore.
Yes, and the elephant in the room that no one's talking about is the Capitol renovation and the moving vans coming up on May 19th. But, I think we can control that. I think we can ask those moving vans to hold off for a day or two till we actually read the bills.
A day or two
Yeah.
before the desks in the House chamber get unbolted and removed. I mean, that's what's supposed to happen on Tuesday. And a day or two, I've talked to admin, will not delay the construction too much. But, these are all carefully timed. Right. And it's a very hot construction season. If you saw the St. Paul paper this morning, there were 3 pages of projects in St. Paul alone that are being involved. And it did not even include the Capitol and the new Senate office building in that list. So that these construction companies, they have other jobs that they have to do, so they're time to spend their 2 weeks here and then they're off somewhere else. And if that gets thrown, they might not be able to do the work, and it could throw off the timing and everything else. And a fact, when we get back in the Capitol in 2017, that's how crucial it is.
Our residents of Minnesota, our fellow residents in this state, are going to be, I think, pleasantly surprised with this reconstruction project of the Capitol when it's finished. It's creating an enormous amount of confusion for you folks and for student groups. I spoke to a student group this week, that met at the History Center because they didn't have access to the Capitol, but I think the inconvenience is going to be well worth it once we're done.
Two-thirds of the Capitol's closed off.
Right.
So it's not been very pleasant for visitors. There's a lot of noise, a lot of bad air quality. I hear from our staff a lot that they're having allergy problems. So it's been a real problem in the Capitol.
But I do believe this is going to be quite spectacular when
You
it's
know,
done.
it is so
be positive
long
about it.
overdue. Back when I entered the House in 2003, there were massive needs for the Capitol renovation. And it wasn't until 2012 that we actually passed the Capitol Commission that really started moving this project forward. And, you know, this is a good example of bipartisanship. I mean, this is really Minnesotans' house.
Yeah.
And it's essential that we take care of it. I think it was really our moral duty to do so. So I'm really glad to see the project continuing, and we know there'll be, you know, little rubs along the way, but I think you're right. It will
And
be
we'll have
great
real
project.
bathrooms and not the porta potties we have now.
So, we have a question from a viewer who wants to talk about, will there be money appropriated for the Lewis and Clark Water Project? And this, of course, Worthington is 3 hours down the road, so I'll pick on you,
Yes.
Senator Nelson.
Yes.
Go down I-90.
Well,
you
and
run
I
into
serve
it.
on the tax committee, so that might help a little bit. I do believe that there was money to continue that project in the tax bill. And I will say that my seatmate is Senator Weber, who represents that area. And so it's absolutely essential. I mean, water is essential to our daily living. But I still, you know, scratch my head and think, how is it that we could ever have gotten into a position where Minnesotans were paying for water in other states, and we were hoping at the end of the day that the line would come to Minnesota? I think, you know, there was a real ruse there, and I'm afraid that it cost Minnesotans dearly. But I do believe that there will be money for that Lewis and Clark water area, but I also think that they'll be asking some payment from the locals as well. So it's going to be a sharing
So
initiative.
it's not a bonding project?
No, it is a bonding project, but I think there will be some local input as well.
But you said in the tax bill, you thought you'd see it there.
Yeah, we talked about it in the tax bill too, I think. So, but you know, we meet in G15 for both taxes
Yeah,
and
maybe
capital
you're
investment.
confused.
So I could be
Yeah,
confused
I think
on that.
I'm worried about both those bills.
Yeah, those are two big bills.
That we never need to have a tax bill because the taxes are ongoing. So we could not have a tax bill, and that's been very much tied to the transportation bill.
Absolutely.
And also the bonding bill, I think is going to be very, very scaled down. I talked to the bonding chair today, and it'll just be totally emergency projects, very few, and the Capitol needs some money. Hopefully Lewis and Clark is in that emergency project bill.
I think the important thing with Lewis and Clark is precedent. And that's why the issue is probably on what do the locals pay. We are going to be dealing for the rest of our lives on water issues. Like you said, we didn't think we would be dealing with that in the land of 10,000 lakes. But what you do one place is what you're going to have to do other places. And, you know, we're getting water from the Missouri River. Pipe goes both ways. You know, so we're going to be having issues. Many communities in our state are having to go for deeper wells. They have nitrate contamination. And does the general public, do all the taxpayers pick up the tab for all of those cities? That's a huge cost. And so
Water quality is a big issue. Phosphorus is another problem in the lakes.
And we have other issues. It's kind of odd because we have other parts of the state that have been flooded for 20-some years.
Right.
So there you
That's
go.
the other problem.
And there's the
Right.
other problem. So water is an issue on both sides of the fence, whether you're short of it or whether you have too much of it. And so it's kind of odd. Who knows in the next few decades if that doesn't change and the places that are drought now are.
When I started
have
my
plenty of it.
career, we were doing sewer separation in St. Paul so that we weren't dumping our sewage, raw sewage, into the Mississippi River. So
Progress has been made.
There's been progress.
Some
yeah.
progress has been made, right?
Viewer from Blaine wants to know what happened to Sunday liquor sales Is that
I
resolved?
support it. Yes, it's not going to happen this year, and I do support it, and I think it's inevitable that we will have it in the next few years, because the public has really woken up to this issue.
I think so too. And it's interesting, this year I supported Sunday liquor sales, that amendment, whereas last year I did not. And I do believe it's difficult to make sweeping state policy changes on an amendment on the floor, which is why I voted against it last year. And I was hoping that this year that we would get actual hearings on that and have public debate. That did not happen. And so my vote this year was more like a vote saying, we need to have hearings on this important issue. And I certainly hope that next year the legislature does address that.
Well, the public can make a difference. I mean, I think we all heard a lot from our constituents that they were interested in this, so we got growlers on Sundays.
So we're incrementalism. We're
Yes.
doing and last year the growlers failed. And so I am thinking next year looks brighter.
I was certainly hoping that we were going to have an amendment to give it to the counties. And
To
I
decide.
actually think that counties should be regulating their county and not
Or
the
cities,
state.
yeah.
Well, I don't like the city process. I think it should be at the county level, and that's the issue that I have. I would vote for it if it was a county controlled bill.
And I had an amendment to take the revenue from Sunday and use that for recovery programs. There is a cost to alcohol that isn't just money, and we hear from some of the advocates that there's additional revenue that was there, and so there are programs where we could add those dollars in. But that was ruled out of order. So we'll, but I think I agree that at some point this is going to happen. I'm hopeful that that's a discussion we can have. You're right, on an amendment on the floor, things can get ruled out of order. You don't have that discussion, the passion and the emphasis is right there. But I think that's part of the discussion, not just on
We
this.
need the robust discussion and debate that this issue deserves. Really, prohibiting Sunday sales is left over from Prohibition.
Prohibition,
That's when
right.
John Dillinger was enemy number one, public enemy number one. A lot has changed since then. And I think it's time that the legislature take a look at that, and hopefully next year.
There are some second and third order effects because there is a lot of 3-2. When you get outstate Minnesota, there's a lot of small towns that have 3-2 places that sell 3-2 beer. And those places only get to sell a lot of their product between 10 and midnight when the liquor stores can't sell it, or on Sunday. And that's a second and third order effect,
Oh,
because what
I've never
happens to
heard
those folks that now they're going to
3-2
lose
still
those
exists?
sales. Well, there you go. And so that's a whole nother licensing issue that nobody discusses, nobody talks about. But those places, that's a huge revenue stream for some of those small places that only sell 3-2 beer.
That's where you think about the counties.
That's
Well,
right.
I've really been a longtime advocate for loosening up our liquor laws that come from Prohibition, and to have brew pubs and microbreweries, and now we have microdistilleries. I mean, all those things really add to the ambiance of a city and a state and make it more fun. And to have places like Wisconsin and Colorado and Oregon that have more brew pubs. You can buy beers from those states more easily than you can buy beers that are made in Minnesota because of how strict our laws are.
Well, but keep in mind, some of those California and Colorado beers are brewed right in good old Cold Spring, Minnesota, and bottled right there with somebody else's label on it.
So with that thought in mind, let's move on to a different topic. Representative Hanson, you and Representative Howe were talking briefly about transportation, and you talked about, same and similar. Let's tell our viewers where transportation's at and what the risks are on that front between now and, let's say, Tuesday morning. Let's start with you, Representative Hanson.
Well, I'll go local. Robert Street is torn up right now, so I hear from constituents, we need that. We need the state funds. That's a state highway that goes through a city. It's the main retail corridor in my district, and we need the funds to finish that. And that story can be repeated in every district.
Absolutely.
And so, how do you pay for it? And I think that's where the debate is. How do you pay for it, and how much do you need? But sitting in the committees, and you have everybody come up and talk about their project. And everybody's got a project, and of course mine's mine is the most important project, I think, and needs
I
that.
drive Robert Street
Yes.
occasionally, so yeah,
You
I think it's a
agree.
really important project too.
We need that, but it's, Minnesotans know that our roads need upgrade. They know that we need help.
And our bridges, let's
And our
not forget
bridges.
the Lafayette Bridge
Yeah.
was a very risky bridge. Now we have the 3rd Street Kellogg Bridge, and we already had a big bridge collapse.
And I
So-
will say that where I live, in my neck of the woods, we have almost more bridges than any other part of the state. And so roads and bridges are really kind of the bread and butter of transportation. The majority of Minnesotans get to work, play, on roads and bridges, and it's our constitutional requirement that we take care of those. So that's kind of what's interesting is when we came into session, everyone knew that this is the transportation session. As transportation, I think unrightfully has been shorted. You know, in times of massive like a $2 billion budget surplus, you would think that transportation would be a priority. And so I don't know, this is one thing I will say about the Senate transportation bill. I find it hard to believe that the Senate transportation bill raises $1.9 billion of new taxes and fees. And that's in the time of when we have a $2 billion budget surplus that came on the heels of the $2 billion of hikes in the last session. But the fact of the matter is that's really not prioritizing. When you say, well, we have a $2 billion budget deficit, but in order to do transportation, we have to raise $1.9 billion.
Well, where I would disagree with you, Carla, on that is that I don't think we should be paying for transportation with general fund money. I think that's a slippery slope, that general fund money, when we look at our needs for education and other things in the state, that transportation has to be a dedicated fund. And that the place to get it, I think, is from the gas tax.
Well, I do agree with you. The general fund is not the place to pay for it because obviously we haven't done that. That's why we're in the position we are now. But I do think a dedicated source, kind of a mix of repurposing the sales taxes that are on automobile parts, dedicated to roads and bridges. And then also I like using the lower interest rate environment that we have now, taking some of our surplus, using it to bond for long-term road and bridge projects.
And then I don't want to do too much. You can't get a word in edgewise.
can't.
Can you? With
That's
the
what I'm
time
trying to
being?
do.
I'm the guy on the
Okay, I'm going to
Transportation
shut
Conference
up. Go
Committee.
ahead.
So I sat here and I have one of the major pieces of legislation
We all
on the House
care.
Transportation Bill. I'm the guy that offered up that actually authored the auto parts sales tax dedication to transportation. And I will tell you, nobody brought me that bill. I thought of that bill during the interim as I was wrenching on my 19-year-old Suburban, thinking, geez, I'm buying all these parts on this vehicle, and none of the sales tax goes to fix roads and bridges. But if I went out and bought a new vehicle, that sales tax would go to roads and bridges and transportation. So that's what was the impetus of me drafting that bill, and that when we drafted that bill, the light bulbs came on and said, well, we've got all these other sales tax that come from transportation-related topics. The rental vehicles, the sales tax on leased vehicles. So let's capture all that, and we can dedicate that state by statute right now. And I think that we need a mix. To me, if you're talking like it's all general fund money, and that's just because that's where it goes today. And I believe that if you look at all the other states that fund their transportation, most of them have a mix of general fund dollars and gas tax. I truly believe that this is a wave of the future, the way to do it, because as you keep raising the gas tax, we've kind of proven that we keep raising it, and the last raise was in 2012, was the last incremental from the 2008 gas tax. We have shown that it just isn't working, isn't keeping up. And why is that? Because we are getting alternate fuels, we are getting higher
Better
mileage
mileage.
vehicles. So, and our vehicles are lasting longer. People aren't buying new vehicles every day. The vehicle that I drove when I was 16 years old, I bought it off of a field by a granary. It had 113,000 miles. It was done. Today, I own 4 vehicles. Only one of them has less than 100,000 miles on it. 2 of them have over 200,000 miles on them. So we're not replacing our vehicles as often because they're lasting longer. That's a good sign that hey, the automakers are making good products. but it doesn't, we go and get that sales tax. So I truly believe that this is a wave of the future, and if we need to constitutionally dedicate that, I'm all about putting a bill forward to constitutionally dedicate those sales tax towards transportation, and we can fund that. And I think the transportation package we have is excellent. It provides some funding for cities, small cities under the population of 5,000. And they've never had that.
I'm going to ask you to weigh in on that, but I also want you to tell our viewers where this is at procedurally, if you could.
Well, I just wanted to bring up railroads because we have to do something about rail safety. Minnesotans are contacting us. They know.
In fields, right.
And so I hear that from my district. You know, I've got we need to have improvements in our rail safety system. And we've been talking roads and bridges, but we've had opportunities to deal with rail. Again, the clock is...
We've got about 30 seconds left. Can you tell our viewers where the transportation bill is at procedurally? And there is some risk, as Senator Pappas suggested. Maybe I should pick on you.
Yeah, he's on the committee.
Well,
Where's
I'm
that
on the committee.
About 30 seconds.
I will say that the transportation bill is hung up on the gas tax. I believe if the gas tax was dropped and off the table, everything would come together and that we'd have a transportation bill. But as long as the gas tax is the gas is the issue, and if they hold tight on the gas tax, we won't have a transportation
For those
bill.
of us in the metro area, transit funding is also very important. I wanted to add that.
I think it's important to add, how many Democrats voted for the gas tax when it was on the House?
In the House, it was
Or how many people in general, did anybody vote for it?
We're not going to get the answer to that question because we've only got 15 seconds left. It will remain a mystery until next week. I want to thank our distinguished panel. I want to thank you, the viewers, for joining us. I invite you to be with us next week for what is likely to be our last program of the year. Thank you and good night.
great.
Great. But we didn't get to talk about our...
There's much more about your legislators online at pioneer.org/yourlegislators. Find out more about the history of the program, who's been a guest, and watch all of our past episodes. There's also a photo gallery, informative links, and much more. You can also get involved and stay in touch by following us on Twitter and join us in the discussion on our Facebook page. Thank you for watching Your Legislators. Major funding for Your Legislators is provided by Move Minnesota, a statewide coalition fighting for a 10-year commitment to fixing our dire transportation needs. A safe, reliable transportation system strengthens Minnesota's economy. Join the conversation at movemn.org. Additional funding provided by Flaherty and Hood has provided quality legal and legislative services to clients in Greater Minnesota for more than 20 years. Our legal team focuses on municipal employment and environmental law, while our lobbyists energetically represent clients at the state capitol. Online at flaherty-hood.com. MAPE members, making Minnesota clean waters safe communities, quality education, and veterans care happen. We work hard for Minnesotans.